going on there, guys? We back with another one. We got to talk about Skip Bayless again. As you know, he recently talked to the Washington Post about Shannon Sharpe, and also he went on the Part of My Take Barstool podcast, and he had more to say about Shannon Sharpe and that whole put your glasses back on thing. And I don't know what Skip is hoping to get out of this at this point. Maybe he's going to get a response from Shannon from lending. I guess he's entitled to put his narrative out there as Shannon has done for the last few years. But we saw some things live on TV that really just violated, uh, what two co-hosts should do to each other over time. And we know the football players, they get very sensitive about you trying to clown their career and say they jealous, especially someone like Shannon who's achieved pretty much everything you can in his position in the NFL. Now, my problem with Skip is he doesn't seem to take accountability. He's going to say the audience pulled out after they started getting into it, but that's far from the truth. People were tuning in more when they were getting into it, and it seems like he doesn't want to come to the realization that he played a pivotal part in Shannon's exit. Let's listen to this clip of this interview, and then we're going to react to it.
The famous, obviously, the Tom Brady, that moment.
That was the moment.
Yeah, that was the moment. But what happens after the cameras are off? Is it Q? Is it don't talk for a while? Like, what? Tell us as viewers how that comes back together a little bit, or did it not come back together?
I showed him from day one in 2016, shortly after you guys had started. Our first day was September 6th, 2016. We
were March 2016.
Yeah. So you were about 6 months ahead of us. Okay. I tried to make him understand because I handpicked him because I really thought he could do this, and he can do it and did do it because Shannon works hard at the craft. He was always prepared and always on time and always there for me. And I love him for that, and I will be forever grateful to him for what he gave to me for 7 great years, or maybe 6.5-ish, because now to these incidents, the one. Okay, so I think I misunderstood some of what he was saying, but what we're talking about Brady. My point is, it's hard to rip that. It's hard to criticize that as savagely as Shannon began to criticize Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. And I just couldn't get it. And so at one point he says to me, you do understand I'm in the Hall of Fame? And I said, yeah, but you're not in this guy's universe. He won 7 Super Bowls. Nobody's in his universe. And Shannon got mad about somehow I'm disparaging his career. Well, no, he won 3 Super Bowls and he's in the Hall of Fame. And there was some misunderstanding to it, but there was no lingering fight about it. And when we went to commercial, I tried to show him from day one, when we go to commercial, I'm letting all of it go. Mm-hmm. I'm passionate about it, but I also know the show must go on. So I'm going to walk away for a second, as I always did. I walked over to my little desk, and I began to prep for our next debate. And I let it go. People who ran the show decided we should maybe sit down after that one, and we did, and we had a great talk about it, and we hugged and went on to the next day. So we were really good.
Yeah.
We got through it, but that was the only day I can remember where he actually got mad on the air.
You could see it, and that's where it gets uncomfortable, where it's like the chemistry kind of...
And I told you, once you cross that line, audience is like, we're out.
So his whole thing is Shannon crossed lines. That's the hill he's going to die on, that Shannon crossed the line and the audience pulled out, and that's why they started to lose the show. He's trying to make that the reason for the exit. They chose you over Shannon, which was a horrible, horrible mistake. They misread the room. You misread the room, obviously, when you guys shook up after that private meeting, and he dapped you and hugged you. There's 2 different type of dap hugs, in the professional space with people like that. Now, some people just can't fake it, and they tell you, look, this ain't going to work, and they just going to go ahead and let you know, like, hey, it's a wrap. But some people going to dap you up, give you a hug, but in their mind, see, You looking at the surface level in his mind, he like, oh yeah, I got to get out of here sooner than later, or when this contract is up, I'm looking at my other options. In his mind, on the surface, he dapped you up and just played it cool for the bosses because they called you in there. He didn't want to ruin his reputation for later. He didn't know that Nightcap was going to take off Club Shay Shay, all that, in the way that it did. If he would have known that, then that meeting could have gone different. If he already had those platforms independent of FS1 and they were booming, I guarantee you he would have came in there a little more brash, a little more vocal about how he was really feeling. But see, Skip misread the room and mistake that for okay, everything's good. He just and Stephen A talked about that with Chris Carter, how Skip don't read the room well. And so he thinking that, that incident was patched up, but it never was. It never was. Shannon kept that in the back of his mind. That's why you saw the explosion with the Damar Hamlin situation when he didn't take his apology back. All of those things culminated together, and he was agitated already from previous dealings. That wasn't even the first time he said he was jealous of Brady. That was actually the second time Skip said that. So all of these things come together, and when somebody triggers that again, it comes right back up, and all of it comes right back to the forefront. And that's what the argument was. And Skip, not I ain't gonna say he don't know that. Either he's that naive in some areas in life, or he just don't like accountability. And I want to believe that he's that naive, but it's showing me, man, that he just don't want no accountability. He's putting it all on Shannon in a slick way, trying to say, I took him under my wing, I showed him, I did this, I did that. And I ain't even know Shannon apologizes like that. I keep it, as real as I can from my perspective, even if it could be wrong sometimes, just based off the way I see it at that point. Sometimes y'all come in the comments and y'all change my view on things because I'll be like, oh yeah, I never looked at it like that. But just how I'm seeing this whole thing, Shannon is blowing up right now. Skip is trying to justify how he squandered that opportunity, and he's trying to pin it on Shannon and saying the audience pulled out because of Shannon blow ups. I think he knows how TV works because he's tried to disrespect Richard Sherman before. He disrespected, was it no, that Floyd Mayweather, that was the Chesney guy. Skip got into it with T.O. He got into it with a lot of athletes on TV. So he knows that controversy and that argumentative style sells. So why wouldn't he think Shannon arguing with him would sell? See, it don't make logical sense based off how he's operated. And then, when Shannon got serious with him, he's trying to say, oh yeah, the audience gonna pull out. It don't work that way, man. So I was a little offended by the way that he tried to address that and frame it that way. He knows better. You know what I'm saying? But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time.